Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Sin Privilegios podcast. My name is Adriel Dominguez, and we'll just jump right into it. So, today I want to talk about college, but specifically, I know a lot of people. Okay, let me rewind a little bit. So, I don't follow a lot of Latino influencers. I promise this has a point. And the reason I don't is because a lot of them show a lack of the importance of education. Like a lot of them are high school dropouts, and I feel like it's just they're not good influencers. And obviously, a lot of these influencers have a younger audience watching them. And by this, I mean people that are teenagers or people that are kids, because you are kids in high school. And right now, I'm helping my brother with his college applications, my little brother. And it made me think a lot about that right now. You know, I've also heard a lot of people online say that college is a scam, you get in debt, it's not worth it, you can't get a job. But I have my own take on this, and this is just my opinion based off what I have lived and what I know and what I've seen and what I've experienced. And I think as first generation, y'all really got to listen up. If you're thinking about college, I think education has a lot of value. At the place I'm currently studying at, I'll do all my readings. I'll even do extra research on my own so I can be extra prepared. And what I found is that you really will never fully stop learning. Like there is no such thing. You will never hit a point in your life where you know everything there is to know. And I think this might sound kind of like, well, yeah, duh. But like seriously, it's really unfortunate that people are trying to downplay it because I've met some really smart people here, and even they will be like, well, yeah, but I still do this and this and this. Like they're still learning and continuing their education process, even though they're like the highest in their field. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna talk about today, guys. My parents always told me growing up, one thing that no one will ever be able to take away from you is your education. And it's true. People can say what they want about you. They can do whatever, but your education is something that will always stay with you. Your precious 4-year college degree will always stay with you. All it is something that you take and can't be taken. Nothing, no one can take that away from you. Um, and being first gen, I think there are definitely a lot of barriers that make it harder for you to access higher education, but it is not impossible. That's part of the reason why I wanted to make this video was because unfortunately there can be a lot of like stereotypes or will people in like Latino communities will think that it's unattainable and like impossible. And I've seen it get discouraged sometimes, like don't you can't go to college because it's too expensive. And that is absolutely true. I am not negating the fact that having going to college and trying to get a degree is expensive. And I'm not gonna say no to that because it is true. But there is a way, okay? And I'm standing in front of the camera as proof. I come from what is considered a low income family. I was on free lunch at school. I depend on financial aid to get me through my college education. And I don't have to pay for my college education because I have a lot of scholarships. So I was very fortunate. I know that's not everybody's situation, but I am saying this because I know I'm not the only one that relies on financial aid and scholarships to get them through school. There are a lot of other Latino students that heavily rely on scholarships and they have been able to make it. You just have to want it. And there are resources. I think there's a lack of like pushing yourself maybe, cuz I've come across students that say they want to go to college, but they're not pushing themselves hard enough. And I'm not necessarily saying like you're not doing enough, but if I'm being realistic, as a first generation student, you will have to push yourself twice as hard as everybody else. That is just the reality of it. But it is worth it. And if you're trying to get to that point, you need to push yourself and you need to not make excuses. Because everybody can make excuses for themselves, but it's not going to benefit you. And whatever excuse you used, the other person didn't, and therefore it got them further. Does that make sense? Like, don't put barriers as an excuse for not doing stuff because somebody else might have that same barrier or a bigger one or more than you. And because they want it more than you, they'll get it. That's the difference. You guys can do it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Not even your friend, your grandma, your mom, your dad, whoever, your siblings. You can do it. If you want something, you just have to want it bad enough and find the way to do stuff. Don't make excuses for yourself. There is always a way. I promise you, there is always a way. And another thing with getting higher education, I think it definitely opens doors for you. I know having a college degree does not guarantee you a job, but it definitely helps. If you're going to apply for a job and the other person that's applying doesn't have a college degree, probably only went to high school, you have a college degree, you probably did some internships, you probably volunteered in some organizations, or you probably got involved on campus doing some sort of club, that's going to put you in a further place than they are. There's also statistics of Latinos that actually get paid more money because they have a college degree. It's more attainable to have a job if you have a college degree rather than not. You might think that what I'm saying is common sense, but you would be surprised by how many people think otherwise. And it's very unfortunate to see how people are trying to downplay education and saying that it's a scam. Like, also, this is just my hot take. If you're gonna go get, I don't know, a music degree as a first gen, like me, for example, I thought about that. Well, I'd never thought about getting a music degree, but I definitely, weighed out my options. Like, I wanted to be a doctor. That was my first pick. But once I started running Start, I realized maybe being in school for like 15 years was not the best option for me, only because I don't want to be living under my parents' roof that long. Because I don't want them to work that much. Their job is very physically demanding, and I don't need them to put me through 15 years of school. So once I hit that realization, I was like, okay, I need to choose something else. And so I chose business. And then, you know, why did I choose business? I chose business, if I'm being realistic, it's because it was going to take me the shortest to get through school because I was just going to do 2 more years at my current university. And then I would be done by the time I was 20 and I would be out of school. No, actually, by the time I was 20, I was going to be done with school. I was going to just work in my company, my parents' company, make it big, do that. And if not, I could rely on getting a corporate job, which was not my dream by any means, but it was going to give me the stability that I needed. So that's why I chose that. But now I think, like I said earlier, like you really never stop learning. And I think even if you go to college, you're not really sure what to do, you have like 2 years to kind of figure out what it is that you like. But you really have to like put yourself out there. You really have to get yourself involved in order to find that thing that it is that you like. At least that's how it was for me. Like again, I'm speaking on my personal experience. Once I started doing volunteer work and I joined the Latino organization at school, it really like opened my mind. And like obviously, like I just said, I was just like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get out. And when I was in like actually being in college, really opened my eyes to the possibility of like what I had in my hands in that moment. And I think it's easy for people to say like, you have this opportunity, whatever. Like actually having it and like having that realization that like, dang, I really am here, and your possibilities are much more open when you're pursuing higher education. Obviously, I'm doing like these videos because I'm really passionate about this. And so with this experience and like studying at this new place, I really thought about what I'm doing with my life. Like, what is it really that I want to do and I want to attain at the end of the day? Like, yes, I want financial stability, but is it going to make me happy in the long run? Is like this really what I want? And my parents have always been for me pursuing my education. They have never once like told me you need to hurry up because we need you to make money and like move out of our house. My parents have never said that to me. And even when I was trying to come in, come out of school, my parents were like, we don't know why you're like in such a rush to finish school, but take all the time that you need, honestly. Because I have 4 years, technically, if I wanted to, which I'm gonna get to that. Anyways, so I'm here. And so one of my professors, um, she, kind of sat with me, wanted to get to know me a little bit because I'm taking her class. And we were having this conversation. And she was like, no offense, but you're too, like, she basically told me I was, like, too smart to just be stuck in business. And I was like, oh. Which she's not wrong, okay? She's not wrong. I think being a business major is great. You learn a lot of great information, but it isn't something that I'm necessarily like dying to go to class for. You know what I mean? I like other stuff. And so it kind of made me realize, like, yeah, I know, but like, you know what? And she's like, have you ever considered doing like, I don't know, political science or I forgot, global studies or something like that? She's like, I feel like that would be more up your alley. And then, she really opened a whole new door for me because it hadn't been something that I like really thought about, which maybe for you guys might seem crazy, but like I really never thought about doing that. Like I was like, well, yeah, I'm a business major and like this is just like a passion project of mine. Um and obviously my work in the Latino organization at school is like very important to me, but I never really thought about how it would look like for me afterward. Anyways, now I'm gonna be at school for 4 years. That's my point. Um, Now I'm on this like new journey, and I don't think it would have happened if I hadn't come. But that's a whole nother thing. But back to my point, college isn't a scam. Like it exposed me to so many things. Like I just said, I would have never thought. I think going into college, I would have never thought this is who I would become 3 years in. I'm in my third year. Like that, and LXU, which is the Latino organization I participate in, has obviously changed me. That organization has been the whole reason why I started this in a way, because if I hadn't started doing stuff for LXU and like volunteering for like the Spanish program and stuff like that, or the English program, this part of me, I would have never seen it. I think obviously this part of who I am has always been inside me, but it took someone or something to show that to me. And it really has changed my life. College has changed my life. College has been one of the best and worst years of my life. It is the most difficult thing I have done, but it is the most rewarding thing ever. And I know college isn't for everybody, but what I want people to take away from this, especially my first gen, especially now in these times of like racism and how much scrutiny we're going under in the US, now is especially not the time to give up or to not go to school or to drop out. Now is the time for us to keep showing that resilience and keep going forward with whatever it is that you're doing and do not stop. Everything that is going on has scared me, obviously. That's part of the reason why I started all of this. But one thing that my parents have ingrained in my head, they have sat me down and told me no matter what happens, you do not get to give up. You do not get to drop out of school. You go forward with the plan that you have for yourself. You can figure it out. And if my parents are watching this, which they probably are, I just want to say that I'm not afraid anymore. I obviously am afraid that something could happen to my family, but I'm not afraid of feeling unprepared because my parents have made me a resilient young woman and they have done an amazing job in parenting me and my brother. Their resilience is my resilience. Their perseverance has shown me how to be a perseverant person myself. And they did not come this far for me not to be better. And that's another point I wanted to hit. It is very unfortunate to see young, brilliant Latinos not take advantage of what you have in your hands and the opportunities that being in the US gives you, especially as a US citizen. And I know that might make some people upset, but I honestly think it has to be said and it is the truth. Like I said, I feel like they shut down. Sometimes, they're like, no, I can't do this. I don't know where to find this. I don't know how to do this. I didn't know either. You have to want it bad enough to find the answers because the answers are there. You just have to work harder to have them. But I promise you, you can find them. There is no reason for you to put all these excuses. Your parents didn't put those excuses when they were crossing borders for you to give you a better life. And they did not sacrifice their literal lives crossing through deserts and rivers so they could bring you here and then you make nothing out of yourself. And that mentality has brought me to where I am. I refuse for all of my parents' hard work to be for nothing. I can't do that to them. My parents fought for my education. My parents fought for me to have a better life. And regardless of everything, my parents have given me an amazing life. They have broke their own generational, you know, I want to say curses, maybe their own generational barriers. And we still have a long way to go. I'm the first in my family to have ever come this far. My grandma actually told me she wished she had the opportunity to do what I'm doing. And I think that says a lot. Like, I really am the first of the first of the first. And it's kind of sad that it took until me to get here, but it goes to show how important education is because I would not be here if I wasn't pursuing my education and trying to, you know, come up higher and keep pursuing that dream that my parents came with of having a better life because at the end of the day, that's all I really want. I want to have that stability for my parents and for my family and for when I have kids eventually one day. I want them to have better access to the opportunities maybe I couldn't do because I was first gen, but they'll be able to have them. And I think that's why if you're first gen, your position is so important because your parents already brought you here. Your job is just to build from that and build a better future. It's for you. At the end of the day, it's for you and it's for your family, your kids, your grandchildren. You are setting them up for success in a way. It is your responsibility. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for this. I don't know what else to add, but college is meant to be hard. Like I said, it shouldn't be as hard for first gen, but that's just the reality of it. That's just how it is. And that shouldn't be a reason for it to stop you. If anything, you should grab onto that. And that should be the reason you go harder and try to make it further. We deserve to be in these spaces. And especially right now, I think education and being educated and being in the places they don't want us to be at is a form of resistance. And I think that that is what they are afraid of because regardless of us not having the same opportunities as them, we've been able to make it in the same rooms as them. I have met people that talk about how much money their parents have spent on their education. What I mean by this is they got sent to private institutions, boarding schools, all that. I went to a public school all of my life. And so I was talking to this person the other day, and they were saying, like, I've never actually studied at home. I've always studied abroad at a boarding school. And my parents just did that because they wanted me to have access to the best type of education. And so we were having this conversation back and forth. It made me realize that, I didn't have access to all these extra resources. And like, some of them even had private tutors. I didn't have that either. But we ended up in the same space. So someone tell me how that happened. It's the resilience you have to have in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. That is the only way. But it is possible to end up in the same room as these people. They are not more special than you. They are not smarter than you. They have more advantages, yes. But you can make that path for yourself as well. We are resilient people. You are a resilient person. You're smart. You just have to push through it harder. But there is a way. So, no, college isn't a scam. Is the system kind of broken and annoying and, it feels like everything is working against you? Yes. But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Okay? I would say just do it. You just have to believe in yourself and you have to be willing to take the risk and be comfortable and maybe not knowing what's going to happen. Growth happens in the uncomfortable spots. And sometimes the only way we can become better people, the only way we can become smarter, the only way we can become more knowledgeable is by willing to take those risks. And you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable. And you have to be willing to put yourself through the hard spots, which is easier said than done. I've definitely hit a lot of moments in college where I've just wanted to give up. And I'm like, you know what? This is not for me. But no, guys, we have to make it work. It has to be for you. First gen Latinos, you cannot give up. You have to keep going. I know it's hard, but there's a whole community of us. And I guarantee you that anybody would be willing to support that for you not to drop out. I mean, please go to college, get educated, don't give up, and persevere, guys. But, anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about this podcast episode. I hope that you guys could take something meaningful away from this. And yeah, that was kind of the end. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode in like 2 weeks, hopefully. So, yeah.